Yes, yes. Here we are once again. If you're watching live and you're seeing us on your screen, that of course means it's Wednesday at noon Eastern time, which is always time for the High Noon Hemp Show. A lot of stuff going on today. Great show ahead of you. Information, entertainment, infotainment, if you will. You see it live and video on demand, of course, in many places on Facebook, the Hemptations Beach Facebook page, on Twitter at Hemptations, and of course the YouTube channel. Subscribe to Jedi Hemp if you just want the podcast version. Doing all the cool stuff that you can see. You just want to hear all the cool stuff. Podbean, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Just search the High Noon Hemp Show, and you will find us. I am Stoner Jesus. He is Beach, high above the Hemptations in Sharonville, Ohio, at the Hemp Quarters. How are things this week in the world of Hemptations, Beach?
Shutting down my little heater because it's loud, but it's cold in here. Welcome, everyone, to the High Noon Hemp Show this week. It's true, I am Beach and I am high above the Sharonville location. Planet Everywhere Studios is what we call it. Thanks for watching. If you're watching live, if you're watching later, thanks for that as well. My new disclaimer for the show is the FDA has not evaluated this show for safety or efficacy, just so you know. Um, yeah, they will soon, hopefully. It's true. The second FDA drug is CBD, maybe approved soon, and we'll see. But anyway, that's not on the news or anywhere on the show today. I would say, I'd like to start the show kind of talking about us locally, what's going on, and I'm super excited because tomorrow night I am giving my presentation, my keynote hemp address, so to speak, to the UC class, which is the Intro to Medical Cannabis and Hemp.
Wow.
I think Bonnie told me there's like 50 students this year, which is probably double the last time I did it. But so I'm really excited about that to educate the young, and I'm maybe some old. I don't know. It's a night class, so it's hard to say. On industrial hemp. So that's always fun, and I feel like my keynote, and I go from the oldest that hemp is, all the way up to present day, and all the benefits and all that stuff, and so it's pretty good. It's what you hear every day, or every Wednesday, I should say, here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
That's right.
A little bit of everything. Although, as weird as I just thought about it, I don't think I have any construction news today on the news. So you may just want to turn the channel down. No, don't do that. But and another thing that with the good old Facebook pictures and stuff, my iPad's always reminding me of things that happened in the past. Some of my favorite pics of all time, I suppose, popped up recently, because we just had an anniversary of basically the harvest of the first hemp plants. So this is me in Kentucky, in one of the small amount of acres that was planted in the first year of it being federally legal. We actually went on a little Kentucky tour. There was only 5 acres, I think, grown the first year, maybe 15. I think it was 5 to 15. I forget. But we toured 3 of the farms. I don't think there was only 5 farms even, and so that was a fun little trip. I'll maybe try to gather those pictures up somewhere, because that was 8 years ago. 8 years ago that the first federally recognized legal industrial hemp in the state of Kentucky, some of the first ever, back in the United States in 2014. There weren't, a whole lot of federally approved industrial hemp, even back then. And I remember the first year, the first issue right out of the gate was the DEA was trying to deny having these farms receive their hemp seeds. And that was something that we had to challenge right out of the gate, which was good and bad, because, the challenge didn't last. Kentucky farmers got their seed, and it set a precedent moving forward. Um, that first year, I forget how little the numbers were. It could have been under 100 acres total in the United States that were federally recognized. Um, in 2014, now we were over 100,000 acres. I don't know if we're going to make 100,000 acres this year. I saw the numbers were kind of down, so we'll see, which I would find hard to believe. But it grew exponentially every year until we are where we are with industrial hemp, and that was a great little trip, no doubt about it. Seeing my first thoroughly legal industrial hemp in the country, 2014. All right, let's jump right into the product spotlight. Get on with the good stuff, so to speak. Um, this week we've got some new products in the Purple Dragon Delta 8 with terpenes disposable. Now we're going to see a lot, we're seeing a lot more stuff actually flavored with terpenes. That's when you see something that says, it's Girl Scout cookies, even if CBD, it's Girl Scout cookies. Then they're using, probably they should be using the terpenes from Girl Scout cookies to give you that kind of same flavor profile. And we are starting to see um, uh, studies that are just doing studies on terpenes results on certain things, and so we know it has a slight effect. How large of effect it has, we don't know. But the Delta 8 is still one of the big sellers, no doubt about it. This is a 2,000 milligram disposable. We also got a new batch of Compassionate Buds Delta 10 510 carts. The Compassionate Buds are quite popular around here. I believe they too use terpene flavoring. They usually break it down between an indica, sativa, or a hybrid, which again, I don't know if it makes as much of a difference with the oil when they do that or not. I'd like to really know whether the sativa oil has the same effect as sativa flower, which is usually uplifting, whereas the indica flower is usually kind of more down and mellow. I wonder if that's true with the indica oil when you're using it in a disposable or a cart or whatever. Um, and so that'll be kind of interesting one way or another. We got some Delta 9 to finish off the Deltas. I should have put this one in the middle, I suppose. We would have gone Delta 8, 9, 10. But these are Delta 9. The candy ropes is what's in there. But I think it's 200 milligrams of Delta 9. That's right. We can legally sell Delta 9. It is legally extracted from industrial hemp. And all extracts, everything, no matter what it is, that comes from industrial hemp is 100% legal, unless your state or country, actually, I'm just speaking for the United States anyway, because those are the rules here. If your state changes the law, that's the only way that these extracts can be made illegal. And the last one is actually Delta 9. I know I showed these before we got them in. We just got a fresh batch of the Delta 9, and this is Delta 9 and CBD, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So basically, there's 100 milligrams of Delta 9 in there. There's also 100 milligrams of CBD in there. And so I know that, the 1-to-1 ratio is supposed to be really good for some things. And I would guess, because people see so much, medically used THC, Delta 9, for pain relief, as well as CBD, I would think that would probably be a good one if that's what you're looking for. So there you have it from the store. Now, the one from my door is actually, it's a bonus this week because it's two different things. On top there, those are my collection of Green Spring Technologies guitar picks, which basically mostly sit on my desk. One is in my little guitar It's not a ukulele, and I can't believe I'm flaking on what it's actually called. But it's one size up from a ukulele.
Wow.
And I have shown that on the High Noon Hemp Show before. I've yet to actually learn how to play it or do anything with it, but when I do, I use a hemp pick. And then there's my Green Springs Technology tray. Um, these were back collected way back in the day. Uh, at one of the original, if not the first. I don't know if it was the first or second NOCO that we went to. I think it was the first, actually, um, which is the largest hemp event in the country, expo, every year at this point, growing exponentially to where now they have a Midwest version of the Colorado version. So I love my Green Springs Technology. Rest in peace, Mark Linde. And yeah, there you have it, folks. 4 from the store, 1 from my door on the product spotlight here on the High Noon Hemp Show.
Indeed. Which brings us to a very blue version of the Beachwear segment. Of course, we do the Beachwear segment every week. If you're new, then you're in for a treat. If you're not new and you've been watching us for a long time, this is where hemp, fashion, entertainment, information, all that collide in one amazing segment. And all we need to do that segment is I ask Beach a very simple question. When I say, what are you wearing, Beach?
What are you wearing, Beach? Just, if you're out there and you're thinking blue's a good color, you're right, it is.
There you go.
I'm not feeling blue, I don't think, but I'm looking blue. But up on top there, you can see kind of closely. That's my spooky Hemptations hat.
Wow.
I suppose I maybe should have worn it next week, closer to Halloween. But I saw it sitting on stuff. I said, you know what? I'm going to wear that spooky font. It's a spooky font, I guess. Hemptations hat. And then my Kentucky Hemp, Hemp Hoodlam jacket. One of my all-time favorites. I wear this jacket a lot, especially when it's just chilly or cold. It's really well lined. Soon enough, I'll be breaking out my thick coats. I'm guessing I need to get my fall jackets out of the way, because I think we're going to move right into winter here in the greater high state area, one way or another. Underneath that jacket there is a Kentucky Hemp Outfitters t-shirt. One of my favorite all-time t-shirts ever, I suppose. Back in 20 years ago, I bet this t-shirt could be 20 years old. 15, 20 years ago, I used to wear this one out pretty proudly. It's got the license plate kind of on the back, with the hemp and all that. It's really, really cool. And I love my Kentucky Hemp Outfitters, as you can see by the jeans that I have on, which are also Kentucky Hemp Outfitters. I would have 100 pairs of their 36s, or their 36 longs, whatever they were. They might have been 34s. I don't know, if I could, because these are the best fitting jeans I've ever had. Now I have them in different sizes only because I had to, twerk just to have enough pairs. And then, of course, holding them up is my Hempies belt. And then in the pocket there, as per usual, my Green Springs Technology pen, which I tend to carry almost every day with me everywhere that I go. Unless I'm hiking or doing boating, maybe. I don't know. Underneath it all, I've got a pair of Hemptopia briefs, and then a pair of Kind Hemp socks. I don't know if you can see it. It's got like a little water droplet on the side of it, with a pair of Adidas Sambas. Bringing it all together on What Are You Wearing, Beach, here on the High Noon Hemp Show. Now you know.
There you go.
Right on, right on. Hope I didn't forget anything. Sometimes I skip over, go look at the picture instead of look at my script, and then I'm like, did I get everything? I hope so. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So this first article that I'm going to talk about is, quite interesting. To me, I think it's great that it had to go this far, but the article is actually a pro-tree article. Okay. This article is all about how we need to grow trees because we need to grow trees. Okay. Um, so much so, and this is what I love about it, that eventually they start attacking hemp, like discrediting hemp as a possible option for trees. Um, and the one thing that I find is interesting is like at one point he says, well, you need say a company needs 100 tons of tree biomass a day to make paper. Hemp can't do that. And I'm thinking, what do you mean hemp can't do that? If you grow enough hemp, how can you not produce that? Right? And then, of course, they admit, and I always say, to be safe, I always used to say in my speeches, and I'm not going to alter that because this was a tree expert. He was defending the tree, admitting that it takes 25 to 35 to 40 years to get the full potential out of the tree. So 25 to 35 to 40 years. Okay. Now, it takes about 6 months, 6 months to get the full potential of hemp. Okay. So now you're talking about 25 crops that can be harvested from hemp. Okay. 25 crops to be harvested from hemp in the same amount of time to cut down the youngest tree to use for whatever it is you're going to use for. And they were specifically, what I thought was interesting, specifically talking about toilet paper at some point or another, and how you can't use recycle because it's too weak. You can't use cotton because cotton doesn't really work well because it's kind of too weak, And again, that's where I don't know how the wood pulp is any stronger, but it sure can't be any stronger than industrial hemp. When it comes to strength, and maybe industrial hemp is too strong for toilet paper, like they wouldn't perforate well. I don't understand how this guy is saying in this article specifically for toilet paper that hemp wouldn't be feasible. And again, I understand that you would need the biomass to do it, and the lumber industry has 100 years on hemp right now in the United States. And of course, I can almost guarantee you that lumber has to be imported. It's being like grown in South America where they've cut down all the old forests like 50 years ago and, now just harvesting new growth, which is the only thing that wood or paper products, if you're going to use trees, should be anyway, is new growth. But the ironic thing about new growth is once again, and yes, those trees were cut down, but it's all grown on where they have just depleted the old growth. So it's like they come along, even the old growth that's being cut down right now by the hundreds of acres as we speak in some foreign country that sold those rights away, and then they replant new growth so they can say that it's environmentally friendly. Once again, it's just what a ridiculous principle, in all honesty. And again, 25 to 40 years, 25 to 40 years to get a tree, 6 months to grow the hemp. And we've always, the number that we tend to talk about is, that's about the same as 4 acres of trees. So 4 acres of trees, it takes 25 to 40 years to grow, supposedly, and this is what I've been educated on, can be grown on 1 acre of hemp in 6 months. So his biomass the argument makes zero or little sense. And then he mentioned something about how the trees can just be planted and left alone, and then the hemp has to be farmed. And and I'm like, again, what a ridiculous. That's almost like an anti-agriculture argument. Period. I mean, farming's not bad if what you're farming is good for the planet, especially if it's better for the planet. And so, Anyway, it's just so funny. And again, I mean, it really, it kind of makes me happy that this article was written in that they, go after hemp like they do, because that really means that hemp is a threat to them, and so the tree industry now is catching on. And they're paying attention to all these things that we've been saying about hemp, and now they're realizing all these things can be done with hemp because people are doing them. I mean, one of the largest paper companies in the world has committed their entire line from boxes to toilet paper to be environmentally friendly. And one of the things you're going to use is hemp. And so, again, this is almost like an anti-environment. It's an anti-environmental support. And that's what, and again, I guess that's what the tree industry has succumbed to, is having to throw out pro-tree articles and take jabs at hemp, which we're not even close to growing enough hemp to do that right now. But that's the goal. That's where we want to be, there's no doubt about that. I don't want to put the tree business out of business, the tree industry, the lumber industry out of business, but I want to make them cut down as little trees as possible. I saw something about, somebody was railing against something. It was like it was the beef industry, and they were, they were railing against the anti-beef movement, because they say, well, you're going to put cow farmers out of business. This is a huge industry in the world, and it's not fair to the, you hate cow farmers. And I was like, we don't hate cow farmers. We just hate what the beef industry has done to the planet and the human body. I mean, it's just science. It's not, the cow farmer now then needs to look for a better option. That's all. I mean, his field's got to be highly fertilized, so grow something that grows good on cow poop. Anyway, I don't want to put anybody out of business, so to speak. I mean, but there are some industries that need to be seriously curtailed, and again, can just switch over. I mean, there's no reason why the lumber industry can't switch over to growing hemp. I mean, again, just do it. Whatever. If you're in Pennsylvania, there's money for hemp, all kinds of money. There is a grant that's going to invest $200,000 in hemp education and marketing. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you have anything to do with educating people on hemp, or your organization does, or marketing hemp, you may be eligible for a grant. The smallest grants are $1,000. And then on top of that, I think it was the spring maybe, and I don't know how much of this money has been dealt out or not, but they also have about $500,000 in the coffers to help hemp farmers. And so if you obviously look into this maybe for next year, but maybe there's some grants out there to encourage you to grow industrial hemp. And hopefully maybe that's, to grow it for grain or grow it for fiber, as opposed to grow it for CBD, which is where we're seeing. But again, we're seeing a lot more fiber and grain interest as the CBD industries have kind of, topped out. And again, CBD farming is for one type of farmer, and grain and fiber farming is for another, whereas it's more traditional. Grain and fiber is more traditional farming, where CBD is more horticulture than it is farming, in my opinion. How about the new Maharashi Reebok? This is, and I don't know, and I in my 25 years, I don't remember, and maybe there have been some Reeboks. I'm gonna have to go back that have had hemp in them in the past, but this to me is one of the first hemp Reeboks that I have ever seen. It's called the Maharashi. All the upper is made out of hemp. Now these are actually being made in. No, I'm sorry, that's a different. These are being made as part of the LT Court line, I'm being told. And again, so check out I don't know if they're on the market yet or not. I haven't had a chance to even look to see if they are available at your Reebok, um, local Reebok distributors and stores yet. And so I'll have to check that out and see if they are. Now, this picture of the cold picnic rug. Um, Now, I feel like because they're called the Maharashi, that possibly the Reeboks are using Indian grown hemp. I don't know. This is actually this company, Cold Picnic Rugs. Uh, they were part of best environmentally friendly rugs out there. They are using hemp, and their production facility is actually powered by solar energy, which is, completely brilliant. And again, India produces an unbelievable amount of goods. Um, and there are parts of India that are, disgusting because of it. No different than I'm sure China, and the worst of the worst. But they produce an unbelievable amount of goods, not just to supply Indians because the country is huge with 1.5 billion people. But they really want to, and I feel like right now is no better time for them to make their move on China because they really want to produce the world's goods that China has been producing. With that, we have to support the caste system, just no different than we have to support communism for Chinese goods. You have to support the caste system in India, and it is a true caste system. If you're at the bottom of the caste, you have nothing. If you're at the second bottom of the caste, you can't even have a bank account. You're so unrecognized as a human, and so there's a lot of economic disparity in India. Um, they can only be helped with making more goods and hopefully putting those people to work and hopefully giving them some type of wage that allows them to live okay. But it's I have been and seen it. And it is, where it's poor, as poor can be. So, but they are really promoting hemp as a fiber and hemp as a grain, as a food. I've been seeing a lot more Indian support for, and of course it's kind of where it came from, up in the Tibetan plateau, which is the Himalayas. That's why it's so prevalent in China, because it kind of went over to China, I think, and really took off, and that's why the Chinese have such a history of it. But so did the Indians. They have over 5,000 years of history of industrial hemp. Um, as a food product. So, cold picnic rugs, check those out wherever you can. So, I guess zebrafish are just as popular to test things on as mice, because this week I found 2 different cannabis studies involving zebrafish. Okay, now the first one was actually about terpenes. So they were testing terpenes, and they were specifically the beta carotene and the alpha pinene um, terpenes. And what they found was that they had little effect on the fish. And this was to test like anxiety or stress. And they had this specific test where the fish is in the tank, in the tub by itself with nothing. And then they drop something in it to stress it out. So it was a Lego for this one particular test. They drop a Lego in there to see how the fish responds, whether it continues to stay in the inside where the Lego is, or does it swim on the outside. Now the terpenes had very little effect. I think there was one of the alpha positive pinene had slight benefits on lowering anxiety, as they said, slight. And again, I think that what we're going to find is terpenes do have benefits. They may just not be as strong, and maybe in higher doses. Once again, they may work for truly specific things. This is all getting worked out as we speak. And so now, I'm sure wherever something made a difference. Hopefully they'll take that a little further and just see, if it's really true. But for most of the stuff they tested, most of the things that they showed, the terpenes showed little effect on the fish, to make a difference. Now, on the Parkinson's study that was done, and this was like crazy because this was cannabis, Delta 9, I'm sure, as well as terpenes, as well as CBD. Cannabis showed a 25% increase in survival of nerve cells. Terpenes showed about a 4% increase in survival of nerve cells. CBD showed a 62% increase of survival of nerve cells. 62% increase. And now we know, and there is no question, and most of us that are educated on CBD, on cannabis's ability to help people with Parkinson's. Proving and showing once again is something that we need to do. And that's what this study showed. And again, of course, it's just in zebrafish, and so I don't know how that super translates into humans. You would think that once you see positive results like that, and you see 62% in positivity in anything, if it's carpet shavings, and then I would only guess that you would then take that on to some human trials and see how that translates into human fact, I should say. But once again, this is just on top of all the other things that we have seen about how specifically Parkinson's can be helped with both CBD and Delta 9, one way or another. Which is, again, if it starts in fish and then moves to humans, that's great. Or maybe they move to mice next. I don't know. But I think we've actually seen one of these, some Parkinson's tests on mice, if I'm not wrong, and some stuff that I reported on maybe a month or two ago. I have to go back over my scripts. I report on so much stuff when it comes to positivity and CBD. Sometimes it gets a little, confused because there's so much stuff out there, and that's what the FDA is not listening to, and still keeping CBD to not be, at least be GRAS, which is generally regarded as safe. Anyway, another article on CBD tampons. I think I have a picture here of the company. The girl that wrote the article, and they just called Days. She admitted that she doesn't normally use tampons, but was going to do this to see what the results were, and she said that within 20 minutes, the side effects of her period were gone, totally gone. Wow. And then you say, oh, okay, whatever, yeah, sure, but because she was really going to do this right, the next time she put a tampon in, it was not a CBD tampon, and she said within 30 minutes her pain came back. Wow. And so I reported on an actual study or a questionnaire maybe, and I don't know how many women used the tampons, and again, they showed positive results, and this is just one person in the world. But I think that, she wasn't hawking their product because it wasn't something that she even used on a regular basis. But, and this is, we're going to see more of this, I think, with this. And this is one of the things where CBD is going to be in a very interesting product that is really going to help a lot of women, in all honesty, because, it's something that they deal with every month. And so I think anything to make that better has got to be good, in my opinion, because it's, it is what it is. But So CBD tampons. Once again, I've talked about them. There's the brand. If you want to try them out, I think they do one by the month, like a box of the month, or you can just get I think order some and see if they work for you. Um, and the other thing there, and I don't know. You could almost do your own test results. You can take some Hemptations brand CBD, which is in hemp oil, so I think it would be safe to put on a tampon. I don't know if that would really work as well, and then apply. Um, you know, because I'm sure that they just infuse these with CBD, which is that's all you would be doing would be infusing the tampon with CBD yourself. So you could probably take your tincture and put it on there and see. Now I think these are like it's a pretty good. I think if I remember reading, it's like 100 milligrams, which is a super. That's a decent dose.
Yeah.
But depending on how long and you get that lack of discomfort, she didn't say how long the results were, which would be interesting to know. Actually, how long. Um, and so I don't know. Not having any experience in this, I have. Um, I don't know how often you have to change that when you're going through what you're going through. And so it's probably different because I know there are different flows, and it's all every woman has a different period than the woman next door, which is some, some crazy some crazy medical science there. But and so I think we'll probably see more of this, and we'll probably hear more women talking about the benefits of this um, one way or another. And I think that because I think younger women are if they still if they are using tampons, would definitely try it. And so we'll see. It's good for them though, and I do think that this is uh, something that really is helping women and can help women. That's another benefit of CBD. Um, so many cannabis versus cannabis questions. It's always indica versus sativa. What's the difference between hemp versus cannabis and all these crazy verses? So now we have one um, hemp versus industrial hemp, which again, I laugh, but I get it. Okay, because now, and again, once again, and what this really should be is CBD versus industrial hemp. But you can't really say that now because we're producing so many extracts and so many things from hemp flower. Okay, the flower of hemp, which is where the CBD and the CBG and then all the other extracts are all extracted and made from that flower. Okay, so that's what I believe the author or the person that's talking about this is talking about hemp. And then to confuse things more, industrial hemp, what I believe, then is the grain or the fiber, clothing and whatnot, breaking it down, or the stalk, the herd, even what we use in the hempcrete or the construction materials. Um, and so, to confuse the cannabis issue, because once again, it's all cannabis, all of it, every bit of it, sativa, indica, CBD, grain, fiber, no matter what, it's all cannabis. It's all cannabis. Now, the amount of subcategories to cannabis that we're coming up for now is crazy. Hemp, industrial hemp, marijuana. Again, the marijuana is just that's just a subcategory, slang term more or less that the government is using to describe cannabis. And so, you know, I am glad that Well, no, I am not glad that there is so much confusion. There could be a lot less confusion, I suppose. But I get the confusion because it is, you know, all hemp is industrial hemp. But for the sake of this argument, not all industrial hemp is hemp. By legal definition, it's just hemp. It doesn't say industrial on the farm bills. Okay, it's
Mm.
all just hemp. It's not industrial hemp. It's not cannabis. Well, it may be cannabis sativa L dot L period with less than 0.3% THC. That's probably exactly how it's described in the farm bill. Hemp. Um, and then of course you'll see people describe it cannabis hemp. And again, there's so much, and this is all the government's fault for making this particular plant illegal for 80 something years.
Yeah.
Uh, Almost 90 years. We're almost. And so, if they would have never done that, there would have never been any confusion. Never would have been any confusion, um, in all honesty. But because they have, and now because there are so many uses, and that's why all this confusion exists. This plant is so versatile that it has so many uses that it can be referred to by so many different names, and you're really just talking about the same plant to be described by so many different names. Um, every country has a name for it. Every country has a word for hemp that is not marijuana. um, and that here it's hemp. That's our word for it. And so you know, cannabis the word canvas comes from the word cannabis. That's just some of the how far back it all goes in the history of humanity. Um, and with all the different uses and things we can do with hemp, all of a sudden now, again, as it's becoming legal again, we're trying to categorize them so everybody knows, like, oh, this is hemp. But that's just like, well, why do we need to differentiate between hemp and industrial hemp?
Yeah.
Again, if you want to do that, then just call it CBD. If you're talking about CBD, if you're talking about the flower, call it hemp flower, FLOWER, as opposed to hemp flower, FLOUR, which would be made from the grain. Because I'm pretty sure we could probably use every spelling of any word that's spelled different ways in any industry and make hemp out of it. Most more than likely. Including flour or flour. So, anyway, and now this kind of this is actually an article. This is kind of cool, man, because it's the tiger fiber hemp. If you are looking for raw fiber, they have both bast, as we would call it, which is the fiber. They have short fiber, even, and they have hurd, which is the shiv, the little bits of the stalk that we use for anything from animal bedding to hempcrete, available for purchase, or maybe get a quote at Tiger Fiber. I think it's tigerfiberhemp.com. I don't know. Tiger Fiber is the name of the company. And so if you want to make your own weave, make your own weave of fiber, then you can buy it in the raw material and weave it any way you want to. And so, and again, I think the short fiber then, that's used more in probably padding. You could probably use that in insulation. It's hard to say what the short fiber. Ironically, the short fiber can probably be dumped into the same machine that makes cotton into T-shirts and be made and just use the same technology. I have no idea if that's true, but it would be very interesting to see if the short fiber is short enough, because cotton fiber is tiny little pieces. Can you then take that short fiber and make what we're calling cottonized hemp, which is ridiculous. That's Levi's new thing, cottonized hemp. And what they're doing there is they're just saying it's cottonized. It's just softened. I think they're just making it soft, like you would expect. Um, uh, a pair of cotton jeans to be, I think, is what they're kind of trying to fight with. So, but anyway, check out Tiger Fiber Hemp if you're looking for raw materials, one way or another. And speaking of raw materials, Avocado Mattresses. I think I got a pic here of their mattress kind of broken down into pieces, like a cutout. So this is Avocado, super environmentally friendly. They use wool because it's more renewable, you know, obviously. Whereas a lot of places I read and use horsehair, which is interesting because, you know, that I'm pretty sure you can't save a horse. So unfortunately, that horse is no longer alive. I don't know how there's enough horses that die in the world to get horsehair from, but I really hope that they're, um, you know, I hope that people don't. I don't know. I'm sure that people breed horses to kill them for all their byproducts, which is, you know, I guess it's part of the world that makes stuff out of everything, but that seems quite ridiculous. So anyway, Avocado is in fact using hemp. And one of the layers here, they're using wool and flax and all kinds of environmentally friendly fibers. Their springs are recyclable or reusable, which is pretty cool. The one thing that's not cool is how super expensive they are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess these environmentally friendly mattresses are made for rich people, because they range anywhere from the smallest being over 2,000 to, I think, the California King, which is what I prefer, being as tall as I am. I think it was like $6,500.
Wow.
Now they have, this is, I mean, kind of interesting. They have a 25-year, I think, if I saw correctly, 15 or 25-year warranty. So I don't know if you work those numbers, then that, um, and they are supposed to be like super duper comfortable. I mean, that's a good 2 inches of padding or so, 3 inches of padding all on the top of the springs. And I guess it's all one mattress. I don't know I think you buy it as one mattress. Um, I'm not even positive on that, and I do know that they also offer, because I have reported on these, they offer hemp sheets. Now, I think their set of hemp sheets was like $500 or something, but, um, you know, uh, that's a start, I suppose. And there are cheaper hemp sheets out there. But good for them for using hemp one way or another. Uh, and they don't necessarily promote it, but they do talk about it as being in there one way or another. List of the best instant oatmeals for high blood sugar. Brave Better Breakfast Bowls. I think I saw a picture of these over there. They are. I'm not sure where you can find this in the world. I do love my instant oatmeal. Nature's Path, for the longest time, had a hemp and flax oatmeal. Now they just have flax, and I'm not sure where the hemp went. But they were like, that was on the shelves at my Aldi's for a while, and just kind of disappeared. I don't know if they still make it or they just don't distribute it as much or what, but hemp, and we've seen this before, as an additive or sprinkle it on top of your oatmeal, either way, is a great idea. The hemp hearts are super nutritious one way or another. And obviously, and I think oatmeal alone probably lowers high blood sugar. An industrial hemp grain, we'll have to look into it to see if we know if it lowers high blood sugar. There's not a whole lot of sugar, to my knowledge, in hemp seeds. So I would, only think that would help balance that out. I don't know the nutritional speak there. I am not a dietitian to know how all that kind of works, and I don't have diabetes or a problem with high blood sugar. I don't think that I know of. So, um, but if you want to, if you want to have that instant oatmeal that's good for your high blood sugar, maybe some gluten-free bread with multi-seed power jam. How about the recipe for multi-seed power jam? I think I threw this over to you. We'll leave this up on the screen here for a minute so you can take a screenshot if you want to, if you want to make your own jam. Now, of course, we have hemp jam on the shelves here and Hemptations if you want to get in. I know those were the product on the product spotlight a couple weeks ago, a couple different options for some hemp jam, but you want to make your own. And what I love about this is it's power jam. It's not just jam, it's power jam. This is like Michael Jordan jam. This is Elijah Wan jam. Of course, now I'm dating myself because I don't even know. Like I don't know who's the power jammers now. I don't even know in the NBA who to say who the power jammers are because I don't watch NBA basketball. I watch college basketball. But anyway, if you're looking to make your own multi-seed power jam, there's your recipe ready for you.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's all the news that I have. Got a couple events here and let you know it's happening soon, even this Friday, the 21st. We've got two. We got the Hemp Hootenanny and Harvest Market at the Allenbrook Farms in Spring Hill, Tennessee. And right here in Columbus, Ohio, you have the Ohio and Kentucky Cannabis and Hemp Expo. Never even heard of it until today. But it's going on Friday in Columbus, and I think it's at the big convention center. So it's a decent sized little expo going on. If you want to go check that out. October 25th, you have this is the medical marijuana meetup. These are going on again. So I'm going to start letting everybody know about these. And the reason that I know everybody, and this is in Cincinnati here at the Mad Tree Brewing, the reason I let everybody know about these is because I 9 times out of 10 go to the medical marijuana meetup as the hemp guy, as the person that if you have questions about CBD or any of those things, and that's kind of why I've been showing up. Bonnie invited me back when it was very young. She had to unfortunately take a break. She's back on her feet, going strong. She is also the teacher of the class that I'm giving tomorrow. That I'm educating tomorrow. And so and it she brings a great group of people from all walks of cannabis to the meeting that usually happens. This one's this last Tuesday because this is actually going to be a cannabis costume party as well with prizes. So if you're in the Cincinnati area, you want to celebrate cannabis Halloween, Halla Cannabis, Cannaween, Cannaween. I kind of like that one. And bust out your best cannabis related outfit at Mad Tree next Tuesday. I think they start about 8 o'clock. I should have had a time on that. I don't, but I believe it's about 8 o'clock these days. We usually take a decent little corner somewhere in the facility with our group of people. So November 3rd, you've got the 3rd annual Science of Hemp Conference. That's production and pest management down in Lexington, Kentucky. And then in November 11th, the Kentucky Hemp Association is having their annual conference in Louisville. So if you're a Kentucky farmer and you're not part of the Kentucky Hemp Association, you might want to be, and you might want to go to that because they are well educated on all things hemp. It is true. All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching the High Noon Hemp Show. We appreciate it. If you're watching live, if you're watching later, we appreciate that as well. And remember, reduce, reuse, recycle. Make everything else out of hemp. Happy temptations.
See you all next week.